Hello students, welcome to the physics class again. Today our topic is Gauss theorem and its application. Okay. In last video what we have done, we have discussed about the statement of Gauss law or Gauss theorem. Now today we are going to just derive the proof of Gauss law and one of its application. Okay. What is the statement of Gauss law and what is Gauss law actually? So we have already discussed that if a closed surface is there, then the total flux linked with the closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed in a closed surface. According to the statement, total flux phi of E is equal to closed integral of vector E dot vector ds is equal to q upon epsilon naught. Condition is that the closed surface or the charge is placed in a free space, okay, and it is enclosed by a closed surface, then the total flux linked with the particular surface is equal to q upon 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge means the net charge enclosed in it. This was the statement of Gauss law, and now we are going to derive its proof, the proof of Gauss law. Okay. Now in order to derive the proof of it, let us consider now we have supposed that there is a spherical surface. You can see this figure, spherical surface is there, the center of the spherical surface is O here. At the center of spherical surface we have taken a charge, positive charge plus q charge is there, and its radius is r. Okay. Over this surface, spherical surface, point P is there. Okay. The line which is passing through this point P, we have considered the small surface area ds of this complete entire surface, spherical surface here. Okay. And the electric field which is passing through this is, its direction will be perpendicular to it, the distance will be r, and the area vector is normally outward from the closed surface here. This is the figure. Now by using this figure we are going to derive its proof. So we write here, let us consider spherical surface of radius r, radius r is there. Okay. Now we have to calculate the total flux since the charge is at its center. Due to this charge plus charge, the electric field lines are emerging out from the charge in all the direction, and these electric field lines are linking with the complete entire surface. This surface is spherical, it means that like a ball. Okay. Now we have to calculate the total flux. In order to calculate the total flux linking with the closed surface here, let us consider here the small surface area ds here at point P, a small surface area ds at point P here. Okay. Now at point P, what will be the electric field due to a point charge? The electric field due to a point charge, according to its formula, its distance is r from the charge here. So its electric field will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. So let us go through that. We just take the total flux linking with the surface here. So a small flux link with this point at this point P is d phi. We take it. It will be equal to vector E dot vector ds. According to this condition, the direction of area vector and the direction of electric field is same here, perpendicular to the surface here. So the angle between both electric field and the area vector will be 0 here, theta. It means that close integration or vector E dot vector ds, E ds cos theta, and theta is 0 means cos 0 value will be 1. So we will get this one, E ds cos theta, and since we can see here theta is equal to 0 degree, therefore cos 0 value will be 1. What do we see here? The small flux linking with the surface will be EDS only. Now we have to calculate the total flux. Let us suppose equation number 1. Total flux linked with the entire spherical surface. What we have to do? Point P, ds is there. Similarly at here point ds, 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 ds. Similarly over the complete entire spherical surface we calculate the ds and we add the ds. Then we can get the total surface area of this total flux linked with the surface area of this particular sphere. Okay. What we have to do in order to do this? So we have to integrate this. By integrating we can get the total flux linked with the surface. So we integrate it. Total flux linked with surface is equal to integration d phi. What type of integration is there? Close integration is there. Close integration of EDS. Okay. We can write it as cos theta also. Okay. Here close integration of EDS here. Now flux linked with the surface is phi of E. We consider it. Since E we can take out E and ds cos theta. Okay. So ds cos theta, E is out, close integration of ds cos theta. Since theta is equal to value of cos 0, since the theta between E and ds here is 0, so cos 0 value is equal to 1, we can write ds cos 0 value is equal to 1 here. What is left out here? So total surface area of a sphere. The radius of this sphere is r. What is the formula for the surface area of a sphere? So S surface area of a sphere is considered to be 4 pi r square. Okay. So E into S is left. For this ds integration, S is left. For this cos theta is equal to 1. So what do we get? S for ds and E is already here. So we get here E into S. Phi of E is equal to E into S. What is E? Electric field due to a point charge at P here. According to its formula, its distance is r from the center here. Charge is Q. Then the electric field due to point charge at P, its value will become 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon r square. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Why we are taking epsilon naught? Permittivity of free space, because we have considered this particular charge in a free space. So let us write electric field due to a point charge. Value of electric field due to a point charge at P here will become 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q upon r square. We place both values in this. Let us consider this is equation number 2. When we place both values in this equation number 2 there, we can get the total flux linked with the surface here. So on putting this value, let us see now. Phi of E is equal to how much? Value of E is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q upon r square into what is the value of S? Surface area is 4 pi r square. We place its value 4 pi r square. Now you see here 4 pi is cancelled by 4 pi, r square is cancelled by r square. What is left here? Q is there in numerator and epsilon naught is in denominator. So total value left out here is Q upon epsilon naught. It means that the total flux linked with the surface is equal to Q upon epsilon naught, and this is only the Gauss theorem or Gauss law. You see here phi of E is equal to Q upon epsilon naught. Net charge enclosed in a surface should be equal to Q upon, means Q upon epsilon naught here. So final value phi of E is equal to how much? Q upon epsilon naught, and this is the Gauss law only. Now since we have done this derivation or proof of the Gauss theorem here, okay, by taking or by considering the charge in a free space there, suppose in case of dielectric constant, if dielectric constant is there, okay, or we use the dielectric constant or we use any medium there, then what will be the value of this total flux linked with the surface? In case of any dielectric constant, for dielectric constant we can say that its value since we know that for dielectric constant K is equal to how much? Epsilon upon epsilon naught, which is equal to epsilon r. Epsilon r is the relative permittivity, it is the ratio of the permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of free space, and it is equal to K. K is a dielectric constant. When in case of dielectric constant in this particular condition, what will be the flux linking with the surface? According to it, we can say that the total flux linked with the surface will become Q upon K times of epsilon naught. And when it becomes K times of epsilon naught, in place of K, when we place this value epsilon upon epsilon naught will go up, okay, and it will be cancelled by epsilon naught again. So we write here Q upon epsilon into epsilon naught upon epsilon naught already, it may be cancelled. What is left out here? Total flux linked with surface upon Q upon epsilon, and epsilon means the permittivity of any medium. It means that the charge is placed in any medium, we can get this value of total flux linked with the surface according to the Gauss theorem. And this is about Gauss theorem and the proof of it. Gauss law is applicable. What are the limitations for the Gauss law? Limitation number 1 is there, if Gauss law is applicable only for a closed surface, when a surface is closed, okay, then it will be applicable. Number 2, the charges or the charge distribution inside the closed surface is effective for the Gauss theorem, means the charges which are inside the particular closed surface are considered, okay. Number 3, Gauss law is directly proportional, or Gauss law is applicable for inverse square law, okay. It is inverse square law is used for the Gauss law, okay. Then Gaussian surface, what do we understand by the Gaussian surface? In order to prove this, Gaussian surface is a surface in which the charge distribution is enclosed, whether the charge distribution is point charge, linear charge density, surface charge density, volume charge density, whenever it is enclosed in a surface and the surface is such that at each point over its surface the value of electric field will be fixed and the direction of electric field and area vector will be same, means the perpendicular to the surface. This is the condition, and this type of surface is said to be Gaussian surface, and it is symmetric surface, okay. So it will be used for the Gauss theorem and Gauss law. So these are certain limitations for the Gauss law. Now after this, let us see one of its application for Gauss law or Gauss theorem. Let us see now, okay, what is the application, where it is used, why this Gauss law is used and where it is used. So we see the application. Use of Gauss law. Generally Gauss law is used to determine the electric field for different types of charge distribution, whether point charge is there, linear charge distribution is there, surface charge distribution is there, volume charge distribution is there. We can determine the electric field by using this theorem or Gauss law, okay. So we determine electric field due to infinite long straight charged wire, we have to determine the electric field due to this infinite long straight charged wire, okay. So we consider here let us suppose this is the infinite long charge wire where the charge distribution is there, plus plus plus, these are the distribution of charge, linear charge distribution may be there, and its length will be infinite. Now here what we have to do, we have to determine the electric field due to this long charge conductor. Suppose that at point E here, we consider point P here, we have to determine at point P whose distance from the charge wire is r, small r, and we have to determine electric field at point P here due to this infinite long straight charge wire. In order to determine this, what we have to do? First, we have to consider the Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is an imaginary surface. In order to determine this, we consider Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is such that the point where we have to find the electric field should lie over this surface. This is the condition for it, and the electric field over the surface should be fixed, means uniform, and its direction will be perpendicular, means its angle will be perpendicular to the area or equal to the area vector. This is means the symmetric figure should be there. Okay. Now we consider a cylindrical Gaussian surface like this. Cylindrical Gaussian surface. This is cylindrical Gaussian surface here. The distance of point P, this point P is lying over the surface here. A cylinder, coaxial cylinder, two faces are there, and this long wire or charge conductor now become the axis of this cylinder. So let us consider, let us suppose a cylindrical Gaussian coaxial surface point P, we have to determine electric field E at point P whose distance is r from its axis. Axis means this line charge or long charge wire is become axis of the Gaussian surface. This is cylindrical surface here. Now we consider, since it is infinitely, its length is infinite, but we are considering the Gaussian surface up to here, so its length is supposed to be L, up to here only. Linear charge distribution is there and its length is L there. So according to this linear charge distribution, we know that since lambda is equal to how much? Linear charge distribution, charge per unit length. We suppose plus Q charge is there, so charge per unit length, so its value, charge will become lambda into L. Now we have to determine the total flux linking with this surface here. Now you can see that a cylindrical body is there. This is cylindrical body, suppose that, okay, this surface area is the closed surface, this is the spherical, this is the circular face, and here also circular face, and axis is passing through its center like this, axis is passing through its center. Now according to this, if a long charge conductor is there and charges are lying linearly over it, then the electric field lines will emerges out like a brush hairs, okay, in all the direction, okay. So its direction will be like this, like this, like this, electric field lines from a linear charge conductor. Now we have to calculate from here the electric field lines direction will be like this over in curved surface like this. This is circular face now here. At circular face here, the direction of area vector is this one, but the electric field direction will be this one, E. Here also the direction of area vector is this one, but the electric field direction will be this one. Here at two circular faces, the angle between area vector and electric field is 90 degree. Okay. But here in curved surface area, we can say that at each point of it the electric field lines are coming out, means the direction of this particular ds, if we suppose that at any one point there, okay, direction of area vector and electric field is same, means theta between them will be 0 there. Okay. So we divide this in three parts. In order to calculate the total flux linking with the surface, we divide into three parts. Two circular faces are there and one curved surface is there for this Gaussian surface. Total flux linked with the surface since is equal to close integration of vector E dot vector ds, and according to it we consider this is area, this area is surface area A part, this is B part and this is supposed to be C part. So we take out the integration of E ds cos theta of A surface. Theta, now here for A surface, theta is equal to 90 degree, means angle between area vector and E is 90 degree for A surface. So we write here cos 90 degree plus integration of B, curved surface area is there. So curved surface area is there means that the angle between E and area vector will be 0 degree. So we write here E ds cos 0 plus surface C, vector E ds, again the angle between E and ds is 90 degree here. So theta is equal to 90 degree. Now cos 90 is 0, its value will become 0. Cos 90 is 0, its value will become 0. What is left out here? Cos 0 is equal to 1, E is there into ds, integration of ds there, and integration of ds is equal to E into S, means curved surface area of a cylinder. Curved surface area of cylinder is equal to 2 pi r h. The distance of P here is r and its total length is L. So here the formula will become surface area S will curved surface area, CS will become here 2 pi r L. Okay. So we take out this E into 2 pi r L. Let us suppose equation number 1, total flux linking with the surface vector E dot vector ds is equal to E into 2 pi r L. Now after this, in order to find out the electric field at point P here, we apply Gauss theorem or Gauss law. According to Gauss law, applying Gauss law here, Gauss law says that total flux linked with the surface is equal to close integration of vector E dot vector ds is equal to how much? Q upon epsilon naught. Okay. Let us suppose this is equation number 2. Now the value of close integration of vector E dot vector ds is how much? E into 2 pi rl. From equation number 1 we place this value here in equation number 2 there. Okay. It implies that phi of E is equal to how much? The value of close integration vector E dot vector ds is equal to E into 2 pi rl, okay, which is equal to Q upon epsilon naught. What is the value of Q? Here the linear charge distribution is there, and linear charge distribution is there means that the value of Q is equal to how much? Lambda into L. Okay, so we put the value of Q there. So E into 2 pi RL is equal to lambda L upon epsilon naught. Now here L is cancelled by L. What is left? 2 pi R. We can get value of E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi R epsilon naught, and this is the required expression or the value for the electric field at point P due to a linear charge distribution. Okay, and this is the value of electric field here. Okay, so this is, in this way we can determine the electric field by using the Gauss theorem or Gauss law. Okay, now we can determine the value of electric field by using point charge also, by using the surface charge distribution also. Okay, by using if the charge distribution is volume charge distribution for a spherical shell, for a surface means plane sheet, if the charge is distributed over a plane sheet there, we can determine the electric field. Similarly, what type of this method we have used here. So according to this method, in order to determine electric field, okay, by using Gauss law, 3 or 4 steps we can just complete this term, okay, or determine the electric field by 3 or 4 steps. What we have done here, linear charge distribution is there, means the long straight wire is given to us, charge is distributed over there. What we have done? Number 1, first we have assumed the Gaussian surface according to the charge distribution. Assuming or supposing considering the Gaussian surface, second point what we have done, we have take out the charge distribution, charge, value of charge there. Okay, charge means charge distribution is linear charge distribution, lambda is equal to Q upon L, surface charge distribution, surface, total surface is equal to Q upon, okay, means we can just indicate sigma is equal to Q upon S. Similarly for volume charge distribution. Okay, so finding the charge. Okay, according to charge distribution. Charge distribution. Number 3, we have determined total flux link with the closed surface, EDS. Okay. Number 4, apply Gauss law. We apply Gauss law there, and after applying Gauss law, we have placed all this value, the value of Q and the value of total flux, means cross integration of vector E dot vector ds here in Gauss law there, and then we determine the electric field from the Gauss law like this. Okay, from here. So this is the method to determine the electric field by using the Gauss theorem, okay, Gauss law, and in this way, this is the application of Gauss theorem, Gauss law. Okay, in this way we can determine the electric field here. Okay, so this is about Gauss theorem, proof of Gauss theorem and its application due to the different charge distribution. Okay, so this is all for this topic, today's topic now. Okay, next topic, in next video we will take the second chapter now. Okay, till then all of you please stay safe, stay healthy, goodbye.